Hi, I'm Brad Knowles, producer of Friday Night Flies, hosted by Scott LeBoldus and Scotty Holmes. Enjoy the show.
Alright everybody, we're back. Friday Night Flies in the house once again. So, a few things have happened since we last had a show. We got another Griffin mongoose sent to us. Thank you, Griffin. You guys are rock stars. We got Dr. Slick hooking us up with some nice new shiny scissors. Brad and Scott and the rest of you guys, Scott and Ethan, yours are in the mail. I sent them today being Monday. We also got Solarez. These guys do UV curable resins in a couple different formulas. This stuff's the real deal. It's not tacky, which is awesome. So to kind of show off that stuff, I got a few patterns for you tonight. I've got 2 Chironomids and a micro leech. Those kind of things seem to be doing quite well this time of year. I think with all the ice that we had and how cold it was, nothing could really be all that big. So a lot of the stuff that guys are catching fish on right now is small. I've had one day on the still water, one day out in the salt. It's getting to that time of year where we're going to get super busy, so the shows won't be as frequent, but we'll definitely try to keep posting stuff as we go. Maybe I'll get the login for the YouTube channel from Brad, and I'll post some stuff whenever I can. So those guys get pretty busy with their guiding and their new fleet of fish cats, which is kind of awesome. If you haven't picked up one of those, I got one, and it's they're pretty deluxe. They're definitely the Cadillacs of V-boats and float tube world. So right on. So let's head down to check out this first Chironomid, 1 and 2. Like I said before, they're kind of boring how they fish, but you know what? They work, so I can't knock them too much. So yeah, let's head on down and check it out. Alright guys, so there we have it. This one I'm calling the copper top Chironomid. Looks kind of like a Duracell battery. We got this new material in the store that as soon as I saw it, I'm like, I gotta tie some Chironomids up in this thing. So it's actually called, it's a UTC flashback tinsel in copper. It's pretty cool material. It's pretty shiny. This stuff you'd probably be fishing up higher up in the water column. Like I said, it's pretty cool material. So let's just pop that guy out of there. Pop a hook into the jaws of my shiny new mongoose. So I got a Mustad C49S size 10 and a 7/64 black bead in there. And I've got some Danville 70 in black. So I'm going to start by putting on the gills. What I like to do is actually angle that up a little bit higher. There we go. So that top part's nice and flat. I'm going to take a few wraps right behind the eye. And trim away the tag end. Take our thread right back up to the front. And what I've got for gills, it's an older Superfly product, Midge Gills in white. This stuff is pretty cool. It comes on a card. And it's basically 3 strands, and you can untwist them. And I like to take off 1 strand, so I'm just left with 2. You can go as thick or as small as you like. So size 10s, 8s and 10s, I'm going to use 2 strands. Anything a little bit smaller, I'm probably going to go down to 1 strand. So all I'm going to do is pop that on top. A couple wraps at the back, a couple wraps in front, just to kind of prop them up a little bit. Make sure it's sitting on top. Take a few wraps back, then I'm just going to untwist it a little bit, trim away the excess. Really going to kind of lock that down. I'm going to throw in a whip finish here. Right at the base of that, so I can slide the bead over. Trim away the thread. Man, I've been using the Dr. Slick razors for quite a while now, and until I got a new pair, I forgot how dull mine were. These things are damn sharp. So, now I'm going to reattach my thread, now that I got the gills on. And I like to extend the gills back a little bit behind the bead, just to help build up that taper. I'm going to get the thread started again. I'm going to kind of smooth out this taper a little bit, go part of the way down, go back up. So right behind the beads, kind of back down again. We're going to take it this time good way down the bend, and then nice open spiral turns up to the top. So Chironomids have a very, very slender body, as you can see, just by going back and forth a little bit further each time, You get that nice smooth taper that's going on there. So for wire, for the rib on this guy, I'm using a small black UTC wire. I'm just going to tuck that inside the bead on my side. I'm going to tie it in along the side of the hook, going down there. I like to go past that last wrap, just kind of keep that taper nice and smooth. Wind back up, open spirals. Use that handy material clip on that vise there to tuck away the wire for a later time. Now I'm going to take some of this UTC flashback tinsel and copper. Like I said, this is a large size, so it builds up bodies pretty quick. Lock that in right behind the bead, kind of right on top of the fly. We're going to go all the way down here, right to where that wire was. And then I'm going to spin my thread counterclockwise, kind of flatten it out. And then I'm going to wind up a little bit touching turns just to help smooth out that body. Like I said, with how cold of a winter we had, seems like a lot of guys are catching a lot of stuff on smaller patterns. I was out a couple weeks ago up west of Harrison in some of the small lakes around there, and we were catching them on Chironomids and some small balanced leeches, but everything was pretty tiny. Usually about 12s and 14s was kind of the way to go. So we're just going to wrap this up, slightly overlapping. With the large size, it really makes this nice and quick. And we're going to go right up to behind the bead there. I'm going to take one extra full turn. We're going to lock that down. Sorry about the background noise. We are open, as always. Hopefully I can edit some of that out. Now I'm going to take my wire, and what I like to do on these Chironomids, I like to take 2 turns right at the butt, just to kind of help with the taper. And we're going to go 5 to 7 wraps up to behind the bead. And we got 6 on this occasion. I'm going to lock that down. I'm not counter ribbing it because I am going to use some resin to finish off the body. Now I'm just going to wiggle that thread, helicopter it to try to break it off. And I'm just going to add a little thorax area of peacock herl. So you can use whatever you want. This one I found is it's dyed a bright green, so it's really pops, which is kind of cool. And you want this section to be no bigger than the size of your bead. So I try to get it usually about half the size of the bead. And what I do is the herl side, which you can see on this side, I tie that so it's facing down. So that way when I wrap it, it's the side that's sticking up, as you can see there. Ooh. And it's quite brittle. I did cut off about 1 inch there. Whenever you get peacock herl, cut off a good chunk, just so you don't have it snap like we just had there. Again, just lock it down so the herl's facing down. Then when I go to wrap, it's going to want to go. I'm going to do that again. Don't be afraid to unwind stuff and start over. Sometimes it just doesn't sit the way you want it. Don't keep going with it. Get it till you're happy. There we go. So let's see if this one's going to cooperate. There we go. Alright, so now we got that herl facing up. Just how I want it. 2, 3 turns. We're going to capture that in. 1, 2 wraps. 2 in front. We're going to give ourselves a little whip finish here. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do that twice. I don't head cement this pattern, so 2 whip finishes are really going to lock that in. We're going to trim away that thread. Ooh. You know what? Good thing I did 2 whip finishes there, because I caught my thread with these sharp scissors. There we go. Now I'm going to trim my gills. These I'm just going to fold back over top of the bead. I'm going to cut them about the bead length. That's about right where I want it. trim away any stragglers. That's looking pretty good. So now I'm going to take my Solarez UV Curing Resin. This is the Flex formula. They've got a thin and they've got a thick as well. This is kind of the medium viscosity. And all I'm going to do is get a glob on the body there, like so. Tuck that out of the way. And I got my dubbing needle here. I'm just going to rub that in all over the body, right up to behind the hurl. It's just like all the other resins out there, except, like I said in the intro, tack-free, which is pretty awesome. So I'm just going to rotate the vise around a little bit, get that how I want it. You know what? That's looking pretty good. And I'm going to take the light that they sent me as well. This thing is pretty bright. And just going to let that sit how I want. Looking pretty good, and we're going to zap it. Cures pretty quick. As you can see with those gills, they really pop under the UV light, which is pretty awesome. It's a cool feature of this material. And that should have it. So there you go. Tack-free, nice and smooth. Doesn't cloud up like some of the other guys out there. Pretty awesome little pattern. So there you have it. Copper top Chironomid. Alright guys, there you have it. My copper top Chironomid. New one. Like I said, I saw this material and I'm like, gotta tie some cronies on that stuff. I'm probably going to use it for some steelhead flies, but it's really cool material. Like I said, you can probably use it as a flashback on stone flies and different things like that. Or even on woolly buggers and stuff like that. You can just put the flash in on the side. Kind of a neat technique. But yeah, so hope you guys like that. Tie some up, catch some fish on them. I'd love to see some photos. Again, like I said, we're getting into our busy time of year, so we're all busy doing different stuff and holidays and all that kind of things. If this one airs on this Friday, which I hope it is, I'll be in Hawaii on a beach sipping on Mai Tais. So, like I said, it's going to be busy, but hit us up with your questions on Facebook as always, or email us at pros@fridaynightflies.com. We're always willing to chat with you guys and stuff like that, so definitely hit us up. Alright, I got 2 more videos for you, so let's get out of here and get on with the next one.